Hey, how's it going? Before we start, I want to ask you a simple question. Have you ever caught yourself doing the same thing over and over, even though you know you don't want to? Repeating a pattern, even when it hurts. Feeling afraid of something, even with no clear reason. Like, you dream of changing careers, but never start. You want a healthy relationship, but keep choosing people who hurt you. You say you deserve more, but act like you're not capable. If this has ever happened to you, it's not a coincidence. It's not lack of willpower. It's likely that a hidden belief is in control. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in the next hour. How to recognize a limiting belief, even when you don't know it's there. Because deep down, our lives aren't just driven by rational decisions. They're shaped by deep beliefs, often formed in childhood, silently, without us noticing. And here's the twist. These beliefs don't need to be true. They just need to feel true. So let's start at the beginning. What is a belief, really? 130. A belief isn't just an opinion. It's not like saying, I prefer coffee with milk, or I like summer more than winter. A belief is an internal truth, something your brain accepts as fact, even without proof. It's like software running in the background of your mind, quietly shaping your choices. For example, if you believe, I'm not good enough, no matter how many compliments you get, your brain will filter everything through that lens. You'll remember only the mistakes. Downplay your wins. Feel anxious before any challenge. Why? Because the belief has already decided. You're not good enough. And the worst part? You don't even realize you're believing it. It's like breathing, it happens without thought. These beliefs are formed early, often before age 8. Through things we hear, punishments, praise, silences, looks. Phrases like, you're too sensitive. That's not for people like us. You have to work hard to deserve anything. If you love someone, you control them. The world is dangerous. You can't trust anyone. And each of these can become a belief. And each belief can become an invisible program that guides your life. Now, here's a powerful idea. You don't see the world as it is. You see the world as you believe it to be. This isn't philosophy. It's neuroscience. The human brain can't process all of reality at once. So it uses filters. And those filters are your beliefs. If you believe love hurts, you'll interpret any conflict as proof. You'll pull away before getting hurt. Or you'll choose someone who confirms it, so your belief feels right. If you believe money is dirty, you'll sabotage your success. Spend everything you earn. Or feel guilty for having more. If you believe you can't trust anyone, you'll distrust people who help you. Test them. Prefer loneliness, because it's safer than the risk of betrayal. See, the belief doesn't change reality. It changes how you see reality. It's like wearing colored glasses. You think you're seeing the truth. But you're only seeing the color of the lens. Let me tell you a real story. A woman told me that, despite having a good job, she always felt out of place. She did well, but had constant fear of being exposed. That someone would say, you don't belong here. She didn't know where it came from. Until she remembered something from childhood. She grew up poor. One day, at age 7, she saw an ad for a private school. She said to her mom, I wish I could study there. Her mom replied, that's for rich people. That's not for people like us. She didn't cry. She didn't argue. But in that moment, a belief was installed. I don't belong in good places. I don't deserve the best. Years later, with a degree, salary, and achievements, that belief was still there. She didn't know its name. But she felt its weight. And every time she succeeded, Her brain whispered. You don't belong here. She wasn't wrong. She was living an old belief. Now, I want to ask you a few questions. You don't need to answer out loud. But pay attention to what comes up. Think of an area of your life where you feel stuck. Work, love, money, self-worth. Any area. And ask. What do I believe about myself in this area? What do I believe is possible for someone like me? What do I believe others think of me? What do I believe I need to do to deserve? Now, notice the phrases that appear. They might seem obvious. But they're clues. For example, I have to work harder. That's for people with advantages. If I fail, they'll abandon me. Real love hurts. Money brings envy. Happiness is selfish. These aren't reflections. They're beliefs acting like laws. And the most dangerous part? They hide behind the word reality. You say, that's just how the world is. But really, that's how I believe the world is. So far, we've seen that. Beliefs are internal truths, often unconscious. They're formed early and shape how you see the world. They act as filters, and aren't always true. They can come from simple phrases, looks, repeated experiences. But now comes the practical question. How do you recognize these beliefs in your daily life? Like, how do you know if that fear of asking for a raise comes from, I don't deserve it? Or if that toxic relationship is fueled by, love has to hurt? That's exactly what we'll talk about in the next 10 minutes. The clear signs a limiting belief is in control, even when you can't see it. Because recognizing the belief is the first step to changing the program. And that's what we'll explore now. The signs a limiting belief is in control. Now that we understand what a belief is, this internal truth, often invisible, shaping your choices. Let's move to the next question. How do you know a belief is limiting you, even when you don't realize it's there? Because, as we've seen, beliefs don't come with warning labels. Caution, limiting belief at work. They disguise themselves as common sense, as reality, as, that's just how it is. But they leave traces. Patterns. Repetitions. Familiar feelings of fear, guilt, or paralysis. And that's exactly what we'll explore now. The clear signs a limiting belief is in control. You already have all the clues. You just need to pause and look. Sign 1, you repeat the same pattern, even though you hate it. This is one of the strongest signs. Have you noticed that, in certain areas of life, you're stuck in a loop? Like, always ending up with people who devalue you. Starting projects but never finishing. Getting a job, then feeling unsatisfied. Dieting, losing weight, gaining it back. Saying you want change, but acting the same. When this happens, it's not just lack of discipline. It's a program running in the background. A belief saying, this is how it has to be. For example, if you believe, deep down, that love is suffering, you'll feel uneasy in a healthy relationship. You'll provoke conflict. Or leave before you're happy, because happiness doesn't match what you believe love is. Or, if you believe success brings envy, you'll sabotage your growth. Delay a project. Put yourself down. All to avoid the fear of being attacked. The pattern repeats not by accident. It's the belief ensuring the world stays aligned with it. Sign 2, you feel fear or guilt before even trying. Another clear sign. When you haven't even started something, but already feel anxiety, guilt, or shame. Like, wanting a raise but feeling undeserving. Dreaming of starting a business but thinking, what if I fail? Wanting to get close to someone but fearing rejection. Your brain is predicting failure. But why? Because a belief is running in the background. You're not capable. You'll disappoint. You don't deserve it. It doesn't wait for you to try. It judges before the action. It's like having an internal judge who says, "You shouldn't even try. You already know how this will end." And so, you quit. Not from lack of desire, but from loyalty to the belief. Sign 3, you justify with reality, but it's a belief. This one is especially dangerous. Because the belief disguises itself as truth. You say, "That's just how the world is. That's reality. Everyone knows that." But really, it's just your belief dressed as fact. For example, you can't trust anyone. You avoid intimacy. Money corrupts. You feel guilty for earning more. Happiness is temporary. You don't allow yourself to be happy for long. And when someone challenges you, you say, "That's just how it is." But it's not. It's just how you believe it is. The difference is subtle but crucial. Because if it's reality, you can't change it. If it's a belief, you can question it. Sign 4, you feel wrong when you change. This is one of the most revealing. When you try something different. Say no, ask for help, accept a compliment, follow a dream. And feel a strange sense of, "This isn't me." Of, "This doesn't fit who I am." It's a sign a belief is being challenged. For example, a woman started earning more money. But instead of feeling good, she felt fake. "I'm not like this," she said. Why? Because she had an old belief. Good people don't make much. Rich people are greedy. So when success came, she didn't celebrate. She felt like she was betraying herself. But it wasn't her being betrayed. It was the belief. And her brain, loyal to it, sent a signal. Go back to the old place. It's safer. Sign 5, you have repeating phrases. Pay attention to the phrases you say. Out loud or in your mind. Phrases like, "I never get it right. That's not for me. It's going to fail. That's just how I am. No one will understand me. Love hurts. Work is a duty." These aren't opinions. They're mantras of limiting beliefs. They repeat because they're internal truths. And each time you say them, you feed them. But here's the key. When you recognize the phrase, you recognize the belief. And in that moment, it loses some of its power. Sign 6, you feel relief when you fail. Yes, this happens. Some people, deep down, feel relief when something goes wrong. Because it confirms the belief. If you believe, "I'm not good enough." When you fail, your brain says, "See? I was right." And strangely, that brings comfort. Because it's familiar. It's safe. But success, it's dangerous. Because it challenges the belief. And the brain hates uncertainty. So often, we self-sabotage without realizing. We delay. We quit. Not from laziness. From loyalty to an old belief. Now, before we move on, I want to leave you with this. Recognizing a belief isn't about blaming the past. It's about understanding the present. Because now that you know the signs, patterns, fear, justifications, discomfort with change, repeating phrases, relief in failure, you can start to observe. Not to judge yourself, but to free yourself. And that's exactly what we'll talk about now. How to listen to the belief, understand where it came from, and begin to ask, does it still make sense? Because recognizing is the first step. But questioning is what changes the game. We'll go there now. Where limiting beliefs come from. Now that you know how to recognize the signs of a limiting belief. Repeating patterns, fear before action, automatic justifications, discomfort with change, familiar phrases, relief in failure. Let's go deeper. Where do these beliefs come from? Because, as we've seen, beliefs don't appear out of nowhere. They're learned. Often in silence. Often without us noticing. And understanding their origin isn't about blaming anyone. Not your parents. Not your past. It's about breaking the automatic cycle. It's about seeing that what you believe isn't a universal law, but a response to past experiences. And when you understand where it came from, the belief loses some of its absolute power. Origin 1, Childhood, the laboratory of beliefs. Most of our deep beliefs were formed before age 8. At this stage, the mind is like a sponge. You don't filter. You absorb. Everything feels true. What you hear, see, feel. And every experience, big or small, can become a belief. For example, a child says, "I want to be an artist." An adult replies, "That won't make money." Be realistic. The child doesn't just hear the words. They hear the silence behind them. Your dreams aren't valid. You need to choose safety. You can't trust what you love. And over time, this becomes, "My passions aren't practical. Dreams are dangerous." Another example. A child cries. An adult says, "Boys don't cry." Or, "If you cry, I'll leave." What does the child learn? My emotions are dangerous. If I open up, I'll be abandoned. And this can become, I can't trust anyone. Love requires control. See, it wasn't a major trauma. It was a repeated pattern. A look, a phrase, a silence. But over time, it becomes a foundation. Origin 2, trauma, the belief born from pain. Sometimes, the belief comes from one clear moment, a trauma. It doesn't have to be extreme. It could be being rejected by a friend group at school, getting dumped with humiliation, being unfairly fired, betrayed by someone you trusted. And in those moments, the brain doesn't just record the event. It creates a survival lesson. Example. Someone was betrayed by a partner. Afterward, they develop the belief. You can't trust anyone. If you love, you get hurt. They didn't choose to believe this. The belief arose as protection. If I never trust, I'll never suffer like this again. The problem? The belief doesn't age. It stays active, even when you're safe now. And it blocks healthy new relationships. Because the brain prefers the certainty of known pain over the uncertainty of possible love. Origin 3, repetition, what repeats becomes truth. Many beliefs don't come from one event, but from constant repetition. Like, you grew up hearing, money doesn't bring happiness. Rich people are envied. Work is a duty. Over time, this becomes, if I earn more, I'll corrupt myself. Success isolates me. Rest is laziness. Or, you were always the responsible one in the family. You cared for siblings, parents, problems. And you learned, if I don't do it, no one will. My needs come last. And now, at work, you don't delegate. At home, you don't ask for help. Because deep down, you believe, caring is my role. Stopping means failing. Repetition teaches. And what repeats becomes identity. Origin 4, family system, what the family believes, you inherit. Beliefs are also passed down through families, like silent inheritance. Like, in your family, was love shown through control? Then you learned. If you love, you demand. If you don't control, you don't care. Or, did your parents suffer a lot to have little? Then you might believe, To deserve, I must suffer. Happiness comes after effort. Or, did someone in your family have a tragic end for daring too much? You might have internalized. If I stand out, something bad will happen. It's safer to stay unnoticed. These beliefs aren't spoken. They're lived. And you absorb them like natural laws. Origin 5, Culture and Society, what the world teaches. Beyond family, there's culture. Messages we hear all the time. Men don't cry. Women need to marry. Success means house, car, family. Happiness is a goal. And if you don't fit, the belief forms. I'm wrong. I'm not enough. I'm behind in life. Society creates a script. And if you deviate, you feel like you're failing. But you're not. You're just questioning a collective program. Now, here's an important truth. You didn't choose these beliefs. But you can choose not to be ruled by them. Because understanding the origin isn't about blame. It's about liberation. When you see that a belief came from a trauma, a childhood phrase, a family pattern, it stops being a universal truth. And becomes a learned response. And learned responses can be rebalanced. 29:00. Before we move on, I want to leave you with this. The beliefs that limit you aren't flaws. They were survival strategies. They protected you. Kept you in the known. Shielded you from bigger risks. But now, maybe you're ready for something different. And that's exactly what we'll talk about now. How to question these beliefs, with gentleness, courage, and new evidence. Because recognizing and understanding isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new story. Part 4, How to Question a Limiting Belief, with Courage and Kindness. So far, we've come a long way. We started by understanding what a belief is. Then, we learned how to recognize the signs it's in control. And finally, we dove into the origins, childhood, trauma, repetition, family, culture. But now we arrive at the turning point. How do you question a belief that's been limiting you? Because recognizing it is essential. Understanding its origin is liberating. But real power comes when you look the belief in the eye and ask, do you still serve me? Do you still make sense? Do you still deserve to be in charge? And that's exactly what we're going to explore now. How to challenge a limiting belief, not with force, but with courage and curiosity. Step 1, Name the belief. The first thing is to bring the belief out of the shadows. Instead of leaving it as a vague feeling, like, I can't, I'm afraid, put it into words. For example, instead of, I never stick to relationships, say, I believe real love has to hurt. Instead of, I always quit my projects, say, I believe I'm not capable of finishing what I start. Instead of, I don't deserve to earn more, say, I believe money is only earned through suffering. When you name it, the belief stops being a ghost. It becomes concrete. And the moment you see it clearly, it already loses some of its power. Step 2, Ask, is this true? Now, look at that belief and ask the simplest, and most powerful, question. Is this true? Not, is it true for me? Not, has it always been this way? But, is it actually true? For example, if your belief is, I can't trust anyone, look at your life and ask, is it true that no one can be trusted? Has there never been someone who kept their word? Have you never had a loyal friend? You'll see. It's not an absolute truth. It's a generalization based on real experiences. But not the whole reality. The brain loves to generalize. One partner betrayed me, everyone will betray me. One boss humiliated me, workplaces are dangerous. But the truth is more nuanced. And questioning it is the first act of freedom. Step 3, Ask, who taught me this? This question brings context. If your belief is, happiness is selfish, ask, who taught me this? Was it a parent who sacrificed everything and never found joy? Was it a mother who said, suffering is noble? If it's, I can't fail. Was it a teacher who shamed you in front of the class? Was it a father who only praised you when you were perfect? When you understand who taught it, the belief stops being a universal law and becomes a specific story, valid for that context, but not mandatory for your life. Step 4, ask, what is this belief protecting me from? This is one of the most important questions. Every limiting belief has a protective side. If you believe, love hurts, it protects you from the risk of opening up too much. If you believe, I can't trust, it protects you from betrayal. If you believe, I'm not good enough, it protects you from rejection, because you reject yourself first. In other words, the belief isn't just limiting. It's a guardian of your emotional system. And that's why it resists. Not because it's evil. Because it thinks it's helping you. So instead of attacking it, thank it. Thank you for trying to protect me. But now I'm here. I can take care of myself. Step 5, create a new belief, with real evidence. Now, create a new, opposite belief, but one that still feels believable. It won't help to say, I'm the best in the world. If you've never felt that way, it'll sound fake. Better. Shift from, I'm not good enough, to, I'm capable of learning and growing. Or from, love hurts, to, love can hurt, but it can also heal. Or from, I can't trust, to, I can observe, test, and choose who to trust. And most importantly, collect evidence. Every time something contradicts the old belief, write it down. Someone kept their word. Trust exists. You did something well, even if imperfect. Imperfection isn't failure. You felt happy and nothing bad happened. Happiness isn't a punishment. These evidences are like bricks. Over time, they build a new foundation. Step 6, practice the new belief, even if you don't believe it yet. Change doesn't start with belief. It starts with action. Just like you can play guitar even if you don't believe you'll be good, you can act as if the new belief were true. For example, if your new belief is, I deserve to be happy, do something small that brings you joy. No justification, no guilt. Just do it. If it's, I can trust myself, make a small decision and stick with it. No second guessing. Each action is a vote for the new belief. And over time, it begins to strengthen. Now, before we move on, I want to remind you of this. Questioning a belief isn't a one-time event. It's a process. You won't wake up tomorrow completely free. But you'll start to notice when the belief shows up. You'll start to choose a different response. And every time you do, the old belief loses a little control. And that's exactly what we'll talk about now. How to live with this transformation, without pressure, without perfection, with patience. Because changing an internal program takes time. But it's possible. Part 5, How to live with the transformation, new habits, new paths. Now, we're getting to an important phase. Because after recognizing the belief, understanding its origins, and starting to question it, comes the question many people ask. Okay, I get it. But how does this actually become real in my daily life? Because in the end, we don't just want reflection. We want change. We want to walk forward, even while rebuilding the ground beneath us. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about now. How to live with transformation, without pressure, without perfection, with patience. Because changing a belief isn't like changing clothes. It's like rebuilding a house while still living in it. You'll be in the middle of the construction. There will be days of progress, and days of backslide. And all of that is part of the journey. First, accept that the belief will come back. Change isn't linear. Even after weeks of questioning, I'm not good enough. One day, after receiving feedback, it will whisper again. I knew it. I failed. Or, after months of believing, love can be safe. You'll feel that old insecurity when someone says, I need some space. And then, what do? Don't blame yourself. Don't think, I haven't changed at all. I'm back to square one. No. Change isn't when the belief disappears. It's when you recognize it's back. And choose not to believe it as much as before. It's like an old habit. It shows up. But you don't have to obey. And every time you say, it's you again. But today, I choose a different truth. That's a victory. Second, create rituals that reinforce the new belief. The mind needs repetition to change. That's why small daily rituals are more powerful than big promises. Choose one simple habit that represents your new belief. For example, if your new belief is, I deserve to care for myself. Every morning, before picking up your phone, say out loud, today, I treat myself with kindness. If it's, I can trust myself. Write down one small decision you made with courage. It could be, I said no today. I chose to rest. I trusted my gut. If it's, love doesn't have to hurt. Write a phrase on your mirror. Healthy relationships are possible. And read it every day. These rituals don't change the belief overnight. But over time, they reprogram your inner system. It's like watering a plant. You don't see growth the next day. But with consistency, it transforms. Third, be patient with setbacks. You will fall back. You'll repeat the pattern. You'll self-sabotage. You'll doubt. And that's okay. Because transformation isn't about never falling. It's about getting up faster. It's about noticing sooner. It's about having less guilt. See, if you fell, but now you notice it faster than before. That's progress. If you repeated the mistake, but now you understand why. That's evolution. If you sabotaged, but now you don't shame yourself like before. That's healing. The point isn't the fall. It's what you do after. Fourth, celebrate the quiet signs of change. Change doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes, it comes in silence. Like when you ask for help without feeling weak. You accept a compliment without downplaying it. You say no and don't feel guilty. You feel happy and don't wait for punishment. You fail and think, it's okay. I'll try again. These moments seem small. But they're huge. Because they're evidence that the program is shifting. That you're no longer just repeating the past. So when this happens, acknowledge it. Say, this is different. This is new. Fifth, remember you're not alone. Many people are on this journey. In silence. In internal struggle. In trying to live more authentically. And sometimes, just knowing that can make you feel less broken. You're not sick. You're not behind. You're waking up. And waking up hurts. Because it's the end of a comfortable illusion. It's the beginning of a more real life, fragile, yes, but also fuller. Now, before we move to the end, I want to leave you with this. You don't need to eliminate all limiting beliefs to be free. Just start questioning one. Because when you break free from one, you create space to choose another. And over time, that space grows. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep going. Because the path isn't about total transformation. It's about small choices aligned with who you want to be. And that's exactly what we'll close with now. The final invitation. The invitation to choose a new path. Not out of obligation, but out of desire. The final invitation, one simple step to start today. We've come to the end. But in a way, maybe it's just the beginning. Because everything we've talked about here, beliefs, patterns, origins, transformation, wasn't meant for you to just listen, agree, and move on as if nothing changed. It was meant to provoke you. To remind you of something you already know, but that the world keeps trying to make you forget. You don't have to repeat the past. You can choose a new path. Even if it's scary. And the first step doesn't need to be big. It can be quiet. It can be just one gesture. So before we finish, I want to leave you with a practical invitation, simple, but deep. Call it the First Step Challenge. Here's the challenge. Today, or tomorrow, create one moment of pause. Just one. 5 to 10 minutes. During that time, think of one area of your life where you feel stuck. It could be work, love, money, or yourself. And then, ask yourself these 3 questions, out loud or in writing. What do I believe about myself in this area? X, I'm not good enough, love hurts, money is dirty. Where did I learn this? Who taught me? When? In what situation? What would I choose to believe today, if I wanted to free myself? X, I'm capable of growing, love can be safe, money can serve. You don't need all the answers. You just need to start asking. Because the moment you name the belief, it stops being an invisible law and becomes something you can choose to question. Why does this challenge work? Because it doesn't demand immediate change. It asks for awareness. And awareness is the first act of freedom. You can spend years repeating a pattern without knowing why. But the second you ask, why do I believe this? The program begins to waver. And over time, you'll realize. You didn't choose the belief. The belief chose you. And now, you have the power to say, I see you. Thank you for trying to protect me. But today, I choose a different truth. And if you're thinking, but what if I can't change? Then that's exactly why you need to start. Because transformation doesn't begin with certainty. It begins with doubt. With courage to look. With a, maybe I can be different. You don't need to believe in the new belief yet. You just need to open space for it to exist. Just like you don't need to believe you can fly to spread your wings. You just need to decide you want to try. Let me tell you a simple story. A woman told me that, for years, she believed happiness is selfish. She grew up seeing her mother sacrifice everything for others. And every time she felt joy, a thought came. This is wrong. Others are suffering. I don't deserve this. She lived like this for decades. Until one day, she read a phrase. Caring for yourself isn't selfish. It's how you can care for others. She didn't believe it at first. But she wrote it in her notebook. And every time she felt guilt for resting, she read it. Over time, the phrase became real. She started allowing small pleasures. A coffee alone. A walk with no purpose. A no without justification. And a year later, she told me. Now, when I'm happy, I don't wait for punishment. I just say thank you. It wasn't magic. It was a process. One step, then another. Choosing, every day, to believe in something new. So my invitation to you today is this. Start small. Start with one question. Start with one written phrase. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take the first step. And if you want, write this down now. The belief that limits me is. I learned this when. Today, I choose to believe. Keep it. Come back later. See what changes. Before I close, I want to leave you with a quote from a writer I deeply admire, Naila Tamara. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to stop repeating what isn't you. Because deep down, freeing yourself from a limiting belief isn't about creating a new self. It's about recovering what was always there. Before fear, before guilt, before repetition. It's about remembering you weren't born to suffer. Or to hide. Or to shrink. You were born to live. With courage. With truth. With choice. Thank you for being here. For giving an hour of your time. Such a rare and precious thing. To look inside, reflect, listen. If this resonated with you, you don't need to share it. You don't need to comment. You just need to do one thing. Today, create a moment of pause. Ask. Write. Choose. Because the step that changes everything might not be grand. It might just be a gesture of courage. Of saying, enough. I want a different path. Thank you for watching. And more than that, thank you for showing up. Until the next step.